You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. You roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's a way. Somebody please give this brother an eye. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Devin. I'm excited to be here. Exciting show. Been a minute since I've had a Buckeye on here to talk to them, but right, we might have a Buckeye on tonight. Might have a special guest. One of the newest Buckeyes is going to be joining us. We'll get to that in a minute, but before we do that, guys, y'all know what to do, man. You watch every night. You're in the chat. If you're watching and you're not in the chat, you got to get in the chat, man. A lot of cool people in there. You get to meet new people. You might make a friend. So it's a good thing to do. Hit that like button as well. Hit the subscribe button. Good night for super chats as well. All super chats on Buckeye Scoop go to help out our veterans because they help us out every single day. On the Buckeye Boys, it goes to help homeless veterans and also Teen Challenge, the faith-based organization that absolutely saved my life. So we'll dive into that tonight with the portal pickups from the Buckeyes, but I appreciate all you guys' support. One more thing, guys. I normally don't do this, but I'm on a new venture now, okay? I'm on X. The Buckeye Boys has an X account, formerly known as Twitter. And I'm going to attempt to monetize that account, but you're supposed to have 500 verified followers to do so. I need some help with that. I do not have 500 verified followers. So if you have an X account and you would so graciously go shoot me a follow, I will follow you back. We can help each other out there and help grow both of our channels and our accounts on X. That would be great. But I see everybody in there. Ernie, Stars, Greg, Steely, Mark, Sade. Saw Sade in there. Appreciate you guys for joining tonight. But without further ado, as you guys know, the Buckeyes went into the portal, lost several players in the portal as we knew what happened, but also gained some new faces into this Buckeye program. Some very experienced players from the Big Ten, from the SEC, from all over the place, brought them in. So Buckeye Boys, we're on a little kick right now. We're going to try to get as many of those portal players on the show to introduce them to Buckeye Nation. Some of them will be around for a couple years, some of them just 1 year, right? But I would rather get to know them a little bit before they get to the Woody, before they dive into all this crazy football stuff and they have no time. I enjoy getting to talk to these players a little bit, not in a football setting, get to know them. That way, when you're watching them on the field, it just feels a little bit different when you do that, man. So without further ado, let's welcome one of the newest Buckeyes, tight end from Northwestern, Hunter Welsing. What's up, Hunter? How you doing, bro?
Good. How you doing? Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you joining. Doing good tonight here with my fellow lunatic friend, Psycho Buckeyes. I gave you a little bit of a warning about us before I brought you on. But, hey, listen, we diehards, man. We love all the Buckeyes. We might get upset sometimes just because we love to win, bro. We love to win. I want to start off. I want to ask you. I'm jumping ahead, but I just got to ask you. So before you committed to the Buckeyes out of the portal, did you have an idea of the Buckeye fan base? Did you have an idea of what it meant to be a Buckeye, like, at all?
I had a little bit of an idea about the fan base. I know one of my buddies, I think it was last year, tackled Jeremiah Smith, and it might have been like a little Bush League tackle. And I remember the fan base is a little riled up about that. But at that point, I kind of knew how intense it was. But on the flip side of that, I was also like, this is a place that really cares about their players and really kind of puts their faith in their guys. So I thought that was also like really cool in terms of that.
Yeah, it is a really cool thing to see because, every fan base has, you're not so cool fans that take things too far, say things about people, all that. Every one of them has it. But for the most part, Buckeye fans, you are correct. Super supportive of all of our players because we know, right, what it takes to commit to the Buckeyes, what it takes to go through that program, or at least we think we know as fans. We don't really know. We've never been through it, but either way, you are on that journey now, Hunter, but I would love to know the very beginning of this thing for you, right? You just finished your 6th year, you're going into your 7th year of college football, but your college, right, career started, 2000, class of 2020, I think, is when you committed to, you enrolled in a Northwestern in 2020. But before that, man, give us a little bit of a background about you growing up. Did you play football? Did you play basketball? And what got you started into football?
Yeah, so I kind of have a pretty unique story. I didn't play football until I was about 15. So I was a hockey player up until that point. So I was playing kind of travel hockey solely for, maybe over 10 years. And then I actually had a neighbor who's in the NFL now, Jack Sanborn, who kind of introduced me to kind of playing football. And then from that point, I kind of fell in love with the crowds, fell in love with the physicality of the game. And then I just kind of, my junior year, I never looked back. And then from that point, started getting kind of recruited by like some MAC schools, and then got the opportunity for an offer at Northwestern to play for Pat Fitzgerald. And it was like a dream come true, being able to stay home. I'm a Chicago guy. So being able to play Big Ten ball, play for Coach Fitz, and then be local for my family was like just something I couldn't really pass up on. So I kind of committed, I think, within maybe 3 days from when I got that offer. But yeah, I was super fired up kind of going to Northwestern out of high school.
Dude, that's pretty big time, man. You don't even start playing football until you're 15 and then get an offer from Northwestern, a Big Ten school. Dude, that's a pretty cool story. You are right. That's a different. I've interviewed a lot of players, interviewed a lot of recruits and whatnot. I've never heard that before because normally, right, this is like a lifelong dream. Kids are 4 and 5 years old, right, ready to dive into this because that's the amount of work that it takes. But you're able to translate, right, some of that hockey stuff. On that note, that is a good question I'm curious about, man. So you said you used to play hockey a lot. Or let me know what translates over. Like, do you feel like hockey has given you a little bit of an edge in some type of way, or is there any thing that's not good about it? Tell me about that for a second. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think the physicality. Like hockey's a physical sport, so it's not like I was playing like soccer or something like that where you're not really hitting guys. Hockey's pretty brutal in terms of body checking and everything. So I think kind of translating that physical knack for football over. And then two, I think the flexibility piece is like hockey's all about like movement patterns and how you're moving, how you're skating. So I think just kind of translated over in how I like move and flipping my hips and then kind of running as a whole. But I will say the one thing about hockey is I don't know if it was because we were young, but we never lifted. So coming to football, It's like you were lifting 4 or 5 days a week. And I was like, just blew my mind. But yeah, it was kind of funny, kind of the transition. But
yeah, I played a little bit of floor hockey when I was little with the old YMCA. I had a blast doing that, but that was the end of my hockey career. I went into basketball and baseball and golf, actually. So, yeah, that's interesting. Bro, what's so obviously, man, when you look on the internet, right, coming out of the portal from Northwestern, right, there's some film on you. You had I don't want to get into the year you had quite yet, but what I do want to ask you essentially is what's your height and weight at right now?
Yeah, so I'm 6'3", and then kind of around 250. I'll probably play at 250 for the year. So
okay, gotcha, man. So right, played in hockey for the longest time. You got family members that have played football at all? Your family members played hockey, or was that just kind of your thing? Dive into that a little bit, and also dive into the support group, man, that you got around you that's got you to the point where you are now. Yeah,
so I'm very close with both my parents. Unfortunately, neither of them were D1 athletes, but I think my dad played hockey in high school, and I think he just loved it, so he kind of threw me in there. But he was a football player, and he'll tell me that he's a kind of burly guy, so. Maybe he was just jealous he couldn't get out there and play some hockey. But support group's very tight. Like I was saying, in terms of like playing football in high school, I mean, like looking up to guys like Jack Sanborn, who's, like I said, in the NFL now and played at Wisconsin. He's someone that you kind of look up to in terms of kind of how to model your career after. And then also guys at Northwestern too that were big support systems in terms of kind of the player I am today. So, I mean, those are all guys that I kind of still talk to and kind of rely upon in terms of making the decision to continue playing and then making the decision to come here. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I tell you, I interviewed all types of current Buckeyes, players on other teams, and man, when there's a very strict pattern that I notice with recruits that tend to have success in their career, and that is that they are surrounded by a really good support group, right? That will lead them down the right path and whatnot. And that's kind of like anything in life you have. Like who you're around is kind of determine a lot of what your life ends up being. I found that out a little bit late in life, but hey, at least I found it out. You know what I'm saying? So tell me about this, bro. The tight end position. What's your mentality when you're out there, and what kind of tight end do you consider yourself? Because you got the inline blocker tight end, you got more of a receiving tight end. So tell me about that mentality that has formed throughout your career as being a tight end. When you get on the field, what is on your mind when you're out there? And then tell me about the type of tight end that you see yourself being.
Yeah, for sure. I think first off is like the physicality. I think working to kind of at least make explosive plays and make explosive blocks is like kind of the mentality for myself when it comes to tight end. And then second part is kind of using my athleticism as a tight end. So tight ends, I feel like, are always pretty good athletes. So kind of using that to either like run around a linebacker or kind of like post up on like a DB and use your big body. So I think we're a pretty unique position in terms of how we're able to be used and kind of what we can be used for. So that's kind of my mentality. And then in terms of like who I think of myself as a tight end, I always try to like think of like guys in the NFL, like a Sam Laporta, George Kittle, because I know I'm not like a big like Rob Gronkowski inline guy. That'd be sweet, but I kind of understand more of who I am as a player in terms of using my athleticism and size, and I'm, I guess, shorter on the lower side for a tight end, but using my speed too is something that I try to use in my advantage, especially as being like a receiver or kind of like a motion blocker.
Yeah. I'll dive into, like I told you, I watched your film, so we'll dive into like your season this year and stuff, because I have so many things I want to respond to about what you're saying. Good things, by the way, with what you got going on the field right now. But I do want to ask you this. Interesting, right, career path. Everybody's path is different in football and in life and all that stuff. You spent quite some time at Northwestern, not getting on the, as far as not having much production, at least in a way. Walk me through that. Walk me through what that mentality was like. What kept you going? What kept you like working hard behind the scenes, man? Because there's so many players, I feel like anymore, if they don't play, they just transfer out, right? They just give up. And sometimes as a fan, it's very frustrating. So when I see somebody like yourself that spent so long, right? You waited your turn, you got on the field, you made something of it, and that got you to, right, a better program, right? In college football.
Yeah.
It raised you. You know what I'm saying? You waited for that opportunity. And I don't know that a college football player could get a better opportunity, right, than what you have right now going into your 7th year. But that took a lot of years of grinding, bro, waiting your turn, and you did it. You were patient. You are in seriously rare air in college football right now. So just walk us through that mentality, man.
Yeah, I think just kind of like you said, it's you don't see it much in terms of if you're not playing, you kind of able to hit the portal or you're not satisfied. I don't know, I think part of my thing, it was like I always kind of knew who I was as a player. I always kind of knew what I was capable of. I guess in terms of whether Northwestern was going to give me a shot in terms of what the coaching staff thought about me, and maybe that was something on me at times, but I think just getting that opportunity that last year was something big for me. And then just like knowing that I am able to kind of take that opportunity and kind of run with it. But yeah, I mean, it's a unique opportunity, especially with like the medical years and stuff like that. Cause it was, so I tore my ACL in 2022. So it's like at the time, it's like the worst thing ever. But I mean, it's kind of weird how it works out in mysterious ways. Cause now I'm like, I went through all this to kind of get to this point where I am now and be in the situation that I am now. So, I mean, like you said, it's kind of like just God works in mysterious ways in terms of kind of how he positions you and what you have to go through to kind of get to this point. So,
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story, especially right when you look at tight ends in the portal. And this is just what it is, but kind of like a rising star, like a surprise when I heard your name coming there, looked you up, got you a 4-star in the portal, the 53 overall player in the portal out of freaking 10,000 of them and whatnot. Then I go look at your film, 28 receptions for 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. You average 10.6 yards per reception. And, Northwestern kind of a heavier tight end offense, at least from the little bit that I looked at. But I didn't watch all the games, watch the highlight reel, but dude, from what I looked at, it looked like in a lot of those situations where they wanted a down the field threat, it seemed like they were throwing your way quite a bit. Dude, tell us about your role this year, where you're at on the team and what that felt like, right? To be that guy that, right, as a tight end and a downfield threat and all over the field making plays, must have felt pretty good, man, to get on there and actually produced at the level that you produced.
Yeah, I think again, like just being able to kind of produce and take that opportunity is like super gratifying in terms of being able to do it. But I mean, from the player I was when I kind of started the first game to the end of the year, I feel like it was like night and day. So I think just the ability to kind of develop every week was kind of the biggest thing for me in terms of kind of becoming the player I am today. But like you said, like the downfield stuff, I feel like that's kind of like a big strength of mine because I know I'm more of like I guess H or kind of W kind of tight end, so kind of off the ball, kind of receiving, and that's kind of where I feel like I kind of work best in terms of using my speed to kind of make plays like that, but also trying to get in line and do kind of the Y stuff or the inline block and try to become like an all around just kind of better player. So yeah, I mean, that was good kind of end of the year to kind of allow myself to kind of grow my role to become like that starting and then like thankfully all Big Ten tight ends at the end of the year. So
yeah, that's a pretty cool story, man, to see that. I got to ask, man, during that time, like, was it the off season before? Did you feel something click? Did you just get confidence built up in the off season? Was it just your time? Like, what was it that got you on the field, do you believe? Yeah, essentially that. Like, what got you like the opportunity that Northwestern gave you? Why did they give that to you?
Yeah, so I kind of sat down with my tight end coach last year, it was his first year 2 years ago, and I was kind of like, listen, like I like did my time here. I feel like I'm ready to play. I feel like I'm better than the guys in front of me. So I'm like, I need like the opportunity to kind of get my shot because I feel like I know the kind of player I am and I know I could help a team win. So they kind of sat down with me, talked with me, and just kind of were like, listen, like we appreciate everything you've done. Like this is the role we have planned for you. This is what we expect you to do, and it's kind of up to you from there. So it's kind of like putting stuff on my plate and kind of challenging me. So I appreciated that, and then ultimately I was kind of working towards having that role and then even like expanding it kind of towards the end of the year. So
yeah, as one of the older players probably on the Northwestern team, did you find yourself being a leader in the locker room a lot? Are you an outspoken player? Do you kind of let your actions speak, right, more than your words, a little bit of both? What do you consider yourself?
Yeah, it was funny because we actually had a couple, like a lot of 6th and 7th years at Northwestern. So we were kind of an older team last year, but as a leader, I definitely found myself as more of like a kind of actions, kind of from there, because it's ultimately, to me, you kind of got to walk the talk to kind of lead a room. But I'm also like, I try to get as close with my guys as possible. I feel like tight ends as a whole are kind of a pretty close unit. So just trying to get good bonds with the guys, and then kind of from there hold them to the standard. That's kind of required by the program. So
yeah. Sounds like you got a little bit of dog in you, because he said, I sat down with my coaches and said, hey, dude, I feel like I'm better than the guys in front of me. Give me that chance. And it's always nice when you get that chance and you prove the words that you say to your coach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So big shout out, man. I love that. You got to have that dog to come to Ohio State, because Ohio State does not play. They try to recruit the absolute best at every single situation. They had Max Clare on the roster when you committed. I'm sure you sat down, had a little bit different intel than us Buckeye fans had on what Max Clare was doing. But either way, you committed to a room that's got Nate Roberts, got Brody Lennon in there. It's got some talented players, right? So take us to that, man. I know there's certain rules, so just how did the Ohio State, right, connection come to pass this past season?
Yeah, so I ultimately decided to hit the transfer portal. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago on I think it was a Thursday. And then from that point, my agent was kind of handling a lot of the kind of talks with the schools and whatnot. And then I remember Ohio State was one of the first ones to reach out, like kind of right after, maybe within an hour of hopping in the portal. So I hopped on the phone with Coach Bailey, and I was like, just talking to him kind of about what they expect, kind of what they're offering, and then trying to get me on like a visit the next day. So, I mean, that was like, at first it was like, you're the name Ohio State. It's like, you got to do whatever to get down there.
Yeah.
So I called my parents. I'm like, you need to get on this flight ASAP. So we hopped on the flight the next day, came down here, and it was like, I mean, you guys know how it is over at Ohio State. Everything's just like elevated to a level. And I mean, it was so new in the process that like schools were still reaching out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I don't even know if anything kind of can really top that. Just kind of sitting down with Coach Day and Coach Bailey, and I was like, I just feel like kind of this is where I see myself. I see myself developing here as a player. I see the team winning a lot of games. Kind of from that point, I was like, I just feel like kind of this is home. So I think I called them, I want to say like Saturday night, and I was like, I'm committing. I'm super excited to kind of get fired up. And that was super awesome, because it was like very quick turnaround in terms of kind of finding what I wanted and then kind of what they wanted. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like, on this channel, I don't know that anybody could follow the portal any closer than we do here on the Buckeye Boys and Buckeye Scoop. I'm calling the agents I know, the players I know, hey, who, what, when, where. I got word that you committed probably a couple hours before it got released on the internet. So I went right to your highlight film. I'm like, hey, man, this is a good one here. Like this pickup here. So tell me about it, man. What are your goals, bro? Like, are you looking to come here? Are you trying to get to the NFL? You looking to develop and just test yourself, waiting to see what happens? What are your goals for this year at Ohio State? And do you feel like, right, there's a big difference from playing football at Northwestern, coming to Ohio State? Do you feel like you're ready for this? Do you feel like it's going to be a big transition? I know that's a lot in one question. I probably should have split that up, but I didn't. You sound like, I think you're smart enough. You can handle that.
Yeah, no worries. So I think that's kind of like the personal goal, is one, just kind of get connected with the team, kind of expand my network. Kind of football goal is more so like continue to expand upon the year that I had this past year. Like continue to get like, I guess, another all Big Ten honors. And then I guess like the main goal would obviously be kind of winning as many games as possible, beating the team up north, and then kind of competing for a national championship. So that's kind of like the team kind of personal, and then kind of the goals for myself. But and then ultimately coming to Ohio State, this is kind of one of the selling points of kind of what was on my visit is like you're playing against the best of the best. So you want to prepare yourself for the NFL. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's any better place to do it in terms of coaching staff and then the guys that you're lining up against kind of every play. So that was kind of a big part of the decision process is like what is going to prep me or kind of prepare me or even like propel me to either get drafted or prepare myself for the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a place where you can elevate yourself in a lot of ways because even the Buckeye community, even after folks leave from playing there, Buckeye for life, man. Even after 1 year, Quinshad Judkins came in, and now Buckeye fans love him to death, man. Even after 1 year, this portal thing is new, but man, once you make that decision to be a Buckeye, we understand what that decision means for somebody's career. We understand the challenge that they are putting in front of themselves, and we respect that, man. So I love you giving us a little bit of insight into this. So are you there now? Have you met the team yet? Anything like that?
Yeah, so I moved in this past Friday. So it was kind of quick turnaround in terms of committing, and then I was kind of out of my apartment in like a week, so kind of had to pack up shop and then kind of get down here. But today was our first day, kind of like a lot of introduction, and then this past weekend I kind of met up with the tight ends and kind of hung out with them a little bit, just kind of get an overview of the room and kind of hang out with the guys that I'm going to be spending time with. But I mean, they're a great group of guys. So I feel like all tight ends are usually a pretty solid group of guys. So
yeah,
I'm excited to kind of get to work with them.
What about Keenan Bailey, man? First impressions. Is he a screaming your face type of coach? What's your vibe from Keenan? The first your first interaction. Man? I hear a lot of good things about him, by the way, coming out of there. So
yeah, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say. I haven't experienced the screaming and yelling yet, but I've heard that's coming for sure. But kind of talking with him, sitting down, talking ball, and doing kind of being on the visit with him. It's like a super great guy. Super young, kind of able to talk to him. It's not like it's like at times like doesn't even really feel like you're talking to a coach. At times it kind of feels like you're talking to like an older guy who's kind of experienced in the setting. But yeah, I mean, he was a big kind of part of the process in terms of kind of committing here because I was like, I think this guy's going to develop me into kind of the player I want to be and kind of take me to that spot. So, I mean, we'll see how the season is with the screaming and yelling. I'm sure I'll experience that pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always heard Keenan, he's real big on that tight end room being super close knit, gets real close with you guys. He's known as a really good recruiter, building those relationships. So, man, dude, I'm excited. They brought you in, another Ohio tight end, Mason, I believe. I forget his last name, but yeah, brought both you guys in. So, great additions to the tight end room, man. I'm excited to watch you. I got one final question. This is the most important one. The chat would freak out if I did not ask this question. So, Hunter, what is your go-to meal, bro? Right? The meal that if you had to eat the same thing every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a big I'm gonna go with meals chicken parm. And then as a Chicago guy, I'm probably gonna do like a slice of like Portillo's chocolate cake.
Oh man, dude, I just got hungry, bro.
I
just got hungry. Yeah.
I feel like
my answer would be different every day. You know what I mean? It just depends on what I'm feeling that day on what my answer would be. But dude, a chicken parm is always a way to go. I've heard, right? It's rumored that there in Columbus, you get hooked up with some pretty good food. There's some pretty good restaurants around there to go check out. I'm sure the players told you that today. Like, hey, dude, it's about to be kicking with the food. All the parents I talked to and whatnot on their visits, they're like, hey, the food, it is on point. So
that's what I was saying because I came here on the visit and I was like, didn't really know what to expect in terms of downtown Columbus, and I was like super blown away. And they took us out to like a couple of restaurants and whatnot. And then kind of spending a couple of days here, I was like, food here is like legit. It's good. So I was like super surprised. I don't know what I was expecting. I've never been here, but it was good. It was a big surprise for sure.
Dude, I do got to ask you that because I've had some really funny responses to this. When I've talked to a lot of players that came from Florida, Miami, California, and they tell me, They expected to pull in and look around, see cows everywhere and hay fields and barns and everything else. And they pull in and it's this huge city life. I mean, Columbus is one of the fastest growing cities in
Yeah.
the United States. So it's a pretty big deal. It kind of threw some people off, but I know you said you didn't really know what you expect, but just this is the last thing too, but give me a little bit of that. What did you expect more like a farm, not so much city? What did you expect, man?
Yeah, I mean, when I pulled in, I was expecting more like almost like an Iowa City or kind of like more like a strictly college town. But I mean, we pulled into the airport and it was like driving through, and it was like, I mean, this is like a legit city, and they were saying it was like the population of it was like 2 or 3 mil, and I was like, oh my god. And then we were like driving around, and I was like, oh, this is like an actual like city, like.
Yeah.
And then taking us down, it's like super awesome. Downtown was super awesome. I think we went to, I think it was High Street, is what it's called, and it was like super awesome place to be. So, I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, but like I was saying, the food was like super great too. But
You
I don't know
golf at all?
I do golf a good bit. I heard there's some good courses around here.
Yeah. A lot of the guys on the team, that's what they do. Go golfing a lot. So I'm a big golfer. I love golf.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing I'm like still missing from my old apartment is my clubs. But I'm like, the weather's not good anyway. Clubs? I got to get them up here for the summer though.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, the other thing about Columbus is there's not like an NFL team. There's no team there. So like the Buckeyes are it, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They are it. If you go out and you walk in that city with your tight end room, once people start recognizing you, you're going to get approached dang near every time you go out. Of course, Jeremiah Smith, you heard him talk. He can't go grocery shopping because everything they just absolutely surround him. So it's going to be a good time.
I was in the airport. It was a funny story. When I first like came here when I was coming from Chicago, and I was in the airport, I had like my Northwestern bag on, and like some guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, like, are you the transfer portal tight end?" I'm like, "What?" You got it from like the Northwestern bag, but it was super funny. I was like, that's how I knew that it was like the fans here were a different breed. They're really on top of their stuff. So that was funny.
Oh yeah, we're on top of it big time. But all right, Hunter, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you taking the time to give us a little insight on your football career and what you plan to do. We are stoked to have you here. Been talking you up quite a bit on the show. I'm excited to see you get in that weight room. That's the other thing. Body by Maradi, Mick. I've seen some wild transformations during the off season, so that should be interesting. We're definitely going to be keeping up on you, man. Maybe at some point get you back on here, get another update from you. But appreciate you, brother. You got any final words for Buckeye Nation?
Nothing much. I'm just super excited to kind of get to work and then win a championship and beat the team up north. So super fired up for you guys having me.
Dude, you just said that you just got so loved. I didn't even have to bring that up. You said beat the team. Love it, bro. All right, Hunter. Appreciate the heck out of you, brother. Go Buckeyes. OH.
Thank you. I'll see you.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. One of the newest tight end additions, Hunter Welsing, the tight end from Northwestern. It's interesting because there's this talk out there. People are looking at transfer portal rankings and they see where he's ranked, the players that he's ranked above. Some people agree with it, some people don't. And I will just tell you that, right, most of the football connections that I have in terms of coaches that are experienced in this, they're pretty excited about this pickup there. I think it's pretty under the radar. Rumor was he was sought after pretty hard in the portal from some pretty big schools. And obviously you heard there, the Buckeyes reached out within an hour. So sounds like going to be more of a receiving threat, kind of like what Claire was. So we'll see how the Buckeyes utilize him. But seems going to fit into this culture. Great, man. Great dude. I know he transferred here, but whoever is going to sit right at the same school and in this environment for 5-6 years and grind their career out to try to get that opportunity, I just got the utmost respect for. And that's what he did. Got on the field, showed what he can do, got interest from some place that can elevate his career. So I feel like that's how the portal's supposed to be used. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I feel like that should be like the number one thing, right? If you got somebody at Northwestern like him that showed that he can play at a higher level and is going to elevate his career, then that's a good thing, man. Come here, get better competition in practice, play in bigger games, bigger environment. Sounds like he has some NFL hopes. This is a place to do it, man. Come out, right? Show what you can do. Playing in this Buckeye program, it's exciting, but we'll see. You never know, getting players out of the portal, especially from different schools, how they're going to adapt to the environment. It seems like very smart, good head on his shoulders. Got a little bit of dog in him. I love it. He said, I sat down, told my coaches, I think I'm better than the dudes in front of me. I need my shot. They gave him a shot, and he proved it. So, again, the people I talk to, they're pretty excited about the receiving threat that he is, especially downfield. They also talked about, right, it seemed like when Northwestern needed to take their shots downfield, that's where they went. So, being a 6'3", 250-pound tight end and being the downfield target, that's a pretty exciting thing. I think this is a good pickup by the Buckeyes. Going to continue this trend, trying to get as many of these portal guys on here as possible. Tomorrow, Dominic Kelly, the corner transfer from Georgia, will be on here. Also getting TJ Alford and Riley Pettijohn lined up. They've been on here every year so far. Last year we did the water bucket challenge with them live randomly. So, that was interesting. So you never know what's going to happen with them two. They get pretty riled up on the show together. So it should be a good show. Don't have that scheduled yet, but I expect that to happen. I'm checking on Dominic. I've been talking to him. He said tomorrow night. He confirmed it, so we shall see. That'll be a good one. I'm excited to get him on here as well. So, hey guys, by the way, I'm not scared to do this. I'm not whatever. If you guys know any of these portal players, right, and have a way, maybe you never know, small world, a connection to them, and they want to come on here and introduce themselves to Buckeye Nation, more than happy to have them on here. You guys know that's my passion. I love hearing the stories from these guys. Hunter's story was a first for me, starting football at 15, going to Northwestern. Now you end up at Ohio State. Those are the type of stories that get me excited. They get me pumped up because that's a long, that's a story right there. Most of these players end up at Ohio State, they've been playing football their whole lives. But with that hockey background, definitely not afraid of the physicality aspect of the football game. So let's check this. Dang, I screwed up, man. I should have read these. Sorry, guys. I'm getting warmed up on the interviews. I gotta read these super chats before he leaves, but I'm going to send him screenshots of these so he knows. Steely, thanks for the $1.99. Welcome, Hunter, to Buckeye Nation. Again, sorry, guys. I should have read these when he was on here. Clueless, thanks for the $5. Welsing, you're on the right side of the line this year. Super excited to see you play in the scarlet and gray. What number do you want to wear? Clueless, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm going to get that information for you, and I'm going to tell you what that is. Steely, thanks for the $1.99. Shout out, Scoop, Buckeye Boys family. Love you all. Love you too, Steely. Love everybody in the chat, man. It supports the show every single night. So, again, dude, I am sorry. I did not read those super chats when he was on here. I screwed up. I told myself that before the show, too. Make sure you read the super chats before you let him off, but I didn't do that. So my bad, man. But hey, guys, again, appreciate you for joining. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. If there's anything that we need to talk about. Yeah. See that? Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows last year, too. Try to get Epi on here again, the normal guys that I get on, see if he'll come back on. Epi's pretty zoned in. He's pretty dialed in, dude. Pretty dialed in on the season. I would not be surprised one bit if coming out this year, Epi has a way bigger impact than what people realize he's going to have. Would not surprise me at all. Yeah. I like this. The fullback. Oh, what's Buckeyes doing in the basketball? Did I see they went into overtime for real? Is it over yet, guys? Is the game over with? I tried to turn it on real quick. I was watching it and the show started. It's over. Okay, so we handled them in overtime. Good. All right, y'all. Hey, yeah, I know. I got to put the super chats in my cheat sheet. So, Dominic Kelly will be on the surprise portal commit that we got, the corner, who I think is a huge pickup, 2 years of eligibility, and he's aware of his plan here at Buckeye Nation, going to fight for a starting role and then roll into the year after as if everything goes to plan, which hard to plan things anymore. But anyway, read the comments, Deb. I know, guys. I know. Thank you, Liz. Great show. Deb with Hunter. Appreciate that. Let's see. Liz, I do. She said you get wrapped up in it, Dev, when talking to our guys. I do. I love it, man. I like when I see him kind of, relax a little bit. He ain't never been on a YouTube show before. And so I asked him before, and normally the nerves come out and you want to just start answering questions like you're in an interview or whatnot. And I told him, I was like, hey, dude, this is not ESPN. It's nothing wild. We're just two football fans talking football, bro. And you could see he, about the middle of that, he put his guard down, started chatting back and forth. Those are always some of the best interviews. So I love it. I know that there is a little handful of Buckeye Nation that has given up on this culture idea, that does not want to hear about, right? The Buckeyes can't pay the player this because it'll upset the culture. I understand that some people don't believe that. They don't want to hear it anymore and all that stuff. I couldn't be more against that crowd if you paid me. I am 100% on the culture still matters just as much as it ever has in college football. And I am 100% on board with do not pay players that are going to come in here and upset your culture. I don't care how good they are. It does not matter. That is, let me make it clear. That is the side that I am on. If Jeremiah Smith did not fit this culture and he upset this culture and it was not good for this team, I would not want him on this team. I know. I'm a psycho. I'm crazy. Shut up, Devin. You don't know what you're talking about. The Buckeyes are never going to win a national title with that mentality. The Buckeyes are going to suck. We're falling behind. We're losing it. Day's not going to win nothing. That's not me. My love that the Buckeyes put culture above everything else still in today's college football. And even doing that, still did pretty good in the portal, right? Keeping that on the forefront of your thing, because this is football, but it's real life for these guys. And the culture in your locker room means a heck of a lot. Indiana just won a national title, right, with not that skilled of players. You going to do that with an upset culture? No, you're not. That is a close-knit team right there that came together and they beat a more talented team than them, stronger discipline. You saw Miami with some of their Miami-ish mistakes that they made, losing their tempers, right? All those things, all that stuff happened. So I love what Ohio State has going on. Talent acquisitions, number 3rd class in the nation. We'll look and see if we add that Dartmouth offensive tackle as a depth piece. I'm hearing the Buckeyes are going to be adding some defensive tackle depth as well. They're not going to be names that nobody's going to get excited about, but we're a little light in that room, so I expect them to pick some depth up there. We will see. We'll see. If any of these Indiana players, any of these Miami players enter the portal, they have till Saturday. We'll see if the Buckeyes recruited them or if they got any interest there. That is still an option for the Buckeyes. So they are not done in the portal per se, but they filled their first needs that they needed to be. So, Dev, not trying to be a jerk here. I'm just curious. What is the criteria to know they aren't good for Ohio State? Do you know? Ron, That is a very like a very good question. I don't. Number one, you got to be a team player. The team has to come first. I would say that's probably the biggest part of the criteria. If Ohio State sits down and they start talking to a player and they're saying a bunch of I, me, they're not going to fit in here because we saw the team that won the national title. That was a brotherhood. Okay. They played for their brothers. They kept winning because they didn't want to stop playing with their brothers. So those things matter. And the things like, right, the players, Ryan Day says it. If you coming here for the money, this is not the place for you. So I guess we do know the criteria because Ryan Day has said it. So that's what it is. Got to be a team player. You can't come here for the money. You just can't do it. You're going to get paid, got paid fairly, but Ryan Day said it. You just can't come here for the money. Those aren't the type of players they're looking for. Right. And another thing I've noticed is they're looking for family support as well. Right. They keep an eye on family members and things. Not always. They will make some exceptions in some cases because they care about these kids. But right, that's the other thing as well. But ultimately, me as a YouTuber and stuff, I can get a little bit of an insight on how these players are and who they are, but ultimately, right, we can come with our assumptions all we want based off of what we see on social media. But I think we're all well aware a lot of stuff you see on social media is garbage anyway. So I'm not saying that by interviewing players, I know who's a fit and who's not. No, not at all. But these coaches do, right? And I have been blessed enough to get to know some of these players on a little bit more of a personal level and their families. Epi, Petty John, the Sanchez's. I know their families pretty well. I know what they stand for, the type of family they are. And I can 100% say with confidence, they fit into this culture, the team mentality, the unselfishness, not here for the money. They're here to become better men, better football players, and challenge each other. So, all right, y'all. Appreciate that. Good question, Ron. I appreciate that question. No, I don't take that as being a jerk whatsoever. So I love those questions. But all right, guys. Plan is Dominic coming on tomorrow. Spread the word. If you could, go over to Twitter. Give me the follow on X, I guess. If you haven't, I see a couple people did already. Appreciate you for that. Hit that like button and subscribe button on both channels, Buckeye Scoop and Buckeye Boys, right? If you're super chatting to the Buckeye Boys channel, I control where that money goes. We know Buckeye Scoop gives to the veterans because they give to us every single day. Download the Spreaker app. Listen to Scoop on the app as well. Show some love on that. Apple Podcast as well. Like and subscribe on Scoop on that. And head over to the Scoop message board. A little bit slower season, but still a lot of things going on that board. Diving into the team, diving into the analytics, some of the schedule. We know when we play Indiana, a lot of things still going on. But on that note, guys, I appreciate the heck out of everybody in the chat. Love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.